Meu Deus.
Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. How much artistic license does Resident Alien, a sci-fi adaptation of the Dark Horse comic book series, take from the original? The mystery or science fiction comic book series Resident Alien is written by Peter Hogan and illustrated by Steve Parkhouse. The narrative concerns Dr. Harry Vander Spiegel, a kind extraterrestrial who got lost on Earth and is now living alone in a cabin in the little town of Patience, Washington, and pretends to be a semi-retired doctor. He presents himself to the villagers as a typical human through telepathy, but the reader always recognizes him as an extraterrestrial. He eventually takes on the role of the town doctor after the only other doctor in the community gets killed, getting more engaged in their daily lives and enjoying their newfound companionship in the process. Sounds simple, right? Let's get into the Resident Alien world and find out more information. So sit tight. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Resident Alien. An alien living undercover, the comic origins. Resident Alien volumes are made up of 4 comic book issues. The first volume's name was Resident Alien Welcome to Earth, consisting of issues number 0, 1, 2, and 3. This first volume of 6 volumes so far by Peter Hogan tells us how he got to be a doctor in the first place. We are introduced to Dr. Harry Vander Spiegel, a shipwrecked extraterrestrial working as a practitioner in a tiny village. Of course, this name was an alias, as his real name is Ha-Ray, which we find out much later in the comics. He is a matter-of-fact, down-to-earth type of man. Only very young children can discern his extraterrestrial features. To adults, he seems to be a human. He thereby avoids detection. He has been living alone in a cottage outside of town for the first 2 years of our narrative. One day, when he's fishing on the lake in front of the cottage, the police arrive and ask for his assistance, since they've heard he's a doctor. Although the cops only see a man on a boat when they first meet him, we readers can immediately recognize him as an extraterrestrial. Mike, the police chief, calls to the alien. When he arrives on the shore, the police explain their situation. There was a murder in the town, and they need a doctor to examine the body. However, because the town doctor was the murder victim, Dr. Harry Vander Spiegel finds himself becoming involved in local affairs, and readers are thrust into the middle of a murder mystery. This comic's crisp, vivid colors depict a lovely town, and its realistic, detailed artwork enhances the narrative. Along with the cops, we encounter Bert, the mayor, and Asta, the nurse, who is visibly distraught about the passing of the doctor, who served as a father figure to her. Bert understands that it will be some time before the community has a doctor. He informs Harry that finding a replacement for the doctor will take months, and he requests that Harry step in to assist the community. Harry is aware that he shouldn't interact with too many people, since it seems that occasionally a person can see him for who he really is, but he finds it difficult to resist being engaged with others. Since he was abandoned on Earth, he has been lonely and finds humans to be both fascinating and straightforward to read. He is incredibly observant and is able to detect lies. He soon settles in the former home of the village doctor, which now functions as the clinic, and comes to know the nurse Asta. With the help of the locals, Harry finds himself lulled into a sort of serenity. He also develops a weird connection with these transparent individuals, reading them like tabloids and becoming increasingly curious about both them and the crime that brought them into his life. The scenario becomes more complicated when soon after another murder occurs. According to an eyewitness, a local ill-tempered old man was brutally carried out in the bedroom by a nude guy with a sewing needle. But that is not the comic's primary draw. This comic is basically a collection of character studies and the growth of Harry and the people he meets. We get flashbacks to when Harry first landed on Earth too. There are also established supporting characters. We get to know Brad, a police officer, and Amanda, his crush. We catch sight of a government agent pursuing the extraterrestrial. We even get to know the neighborhood drug dealer who is likewise seeking the killer and snooping around among his nastiest clients. Asta visits her shaman father when she begins to worry that Harry might not be a human. She could never see Harry's face, she only saw a blur. Therefore, one of the main plot lines in the book is whether Aster will discover Harry's identity or if the authorities will apprehend him. The comic is excellent because of the characters' suspense and relationships with each other. While all this is happening in a parallel narrative, we are shown events that happened 3 years ago where a spaceship crashed and our resident alien came out of it and started walking in search of civilization. The government found the ship completely wrecked, so they couldn't find anything of significance. At the end of the volume, we see the actual killer getting caught by the police and Aster revealing to Harry that she knows he is not one of them. This alien's uncomplicated existence in the town and his ongoing anxiety about being found out ultimately takes precedence over the murder and the real identity of its perpetrator. Even while this is the main plot in this instance, it begs the question of why Hogan even included a murder mystery, since the resolution is so tacked on. Even if the significant murder mystery at the end is somewhat understated and seems really random and uninteresting, you may discuss whether or not this is a good thing in the comment section below. Resident Alien does, however, set itself up well for future volumes, not just with Harry's continual hesitant attempts at integration, but also with the spooks who are trying to harm it and the one person who may undermine it, Native American nurse Aster. She can connect with her spirit animal or whatever is necessary to connect with in order to start seeing through Harry's devious mental trick, as she is the local shaman's daughter. Exploring Resident Alien, the live-action adaptation. Chris Sheridan, the creator of the sci-fi version, uses the core idea of the Resident Alien comics but opts for a generally more relaxed tone. The first few episodes of Resident Alien takes their time to expose the audience to Harry's worldview and his struggle to merge with modern human society and its shifting standards, even though the show's central concept of solving mysteries is always there. Dark comedy is frequently indulged in genuine moments of interwoven emotional solemnity. With the assistance of Nurse Aster Twelvetrees, played by Sarah Tomko, and the local sheriff, played by Corey Reynolds, Alan Tudyk's Harry Vanderspiegel is forced to behave like a regular person while pursuing a murder investigation. As Harry works to mimic human emotions and struggles with the ramifications of his assumed character in the upcoming seasons, the program will lay the groundwork for Harry's hidden motivations and public antics, which may turn into serious crimes that call for his involvement and inquiry. On the surface, Harry Vanderspiegel appears to be an ordinary human Caucasian male, clean-shaven with short, light brown hair. In truth, he is an alien with olive-colored skin, big black eyes, and ridges across his skin, as well as clawed hands. Whereas the original human Harry Vanderspiegel wore glasses, the alien apparently does not need them in his human form. He describes his human form as looking like a young Jerry Orbach, based on his knowledge of Earth culture from watching reruns of Law and Order. Harry Vanderspiegel is frequently bluntly honest because he lacks understanding of human behavior and subtleties.
You took that doctor's body, didn't you? Didn't you?
Of course I took his body.
Some people find this to be refreshing, while it frequently irritates or exasperates others. He also struggles with comedy and frequently only recognizes that he has said something amusing after witnessing how other people react to it. While he struggles with bowling, he excels at shooting basketballs but struggles with the finer points of the game, like dribbling and passing the ball. Harry starts to exhibit human traits as he gradually gets used to the life on Earth. He acquires the capacity for dreaming and sleep. Additionally, he develops cravings for specific meals and drinks such as milk, pizza, and subsequently pie. He acknowledges that on his home planet, he was a scientist. He tells Aster Twelvetrees that he once had a wife who died back at home.
You have family there?
A wife. She died.
His wife was only his companion, he later admits, because his species truly has no genders. He personally had 342 children, despite the fact that a pregnant member of his species gives birth to hundreds of progeny at once. Although he did not care about any of them because he was an extraterrestrial, he can't stop thinking about number 62 because it had his eyes. He finds that as he spends more time with people, he has grown more infected with humanity, tormented by feelings he has never experienced before, and seriously doubting the mission that sent him to Earth. The first season was released in 2021, and a lot of plot points are the same as in the comics, but there are quite a few changes as well. The story begins with lightning striking an extraterrestrial spaceship, which then crashes in the remote Colorado hamlet of Patience. Its pilot, whose actual name is impossible for humans to pronounce, was on a mission to exterminate humankind from the planet. Since he is stranded, he must fit in by taking on a human appearance and the name Dr. Harry Vanderspiegel, whom he killed when they first met. Harry has been looking for Dr. Vanderspiegel's body in the lake and combing the mountains for his gadget that would end humanity within months. Meanwhile, Sam Hodges, the village doctor, is found dead, and Sheriff Mike and Deputy Liv invite Harry to inspect the body.
We had ourselves a murder in town last night. You're a doctor. We need you to come down and take a look at the body.
Harry's behavior is unsettling, but tolerated. With the aid of the head nurse, Asta 12 Trees, he even assumes the doctor's role. But he soon discovers that Max, Mayor Ben Hawthorne's little son, can see who he really is. Harry tries to assassinate Max, but fails after drinking excessively to fit in. The next day, while moving her belongings out of Jimmy's home, Harry saves Asta from her violent ex-husband Jimmy. Asta then confides in Harry that she gave up her and Jimmy's kid for adoption when she was 16 years old. Harry first believes Sam committed suicide, but after re-examining the body after the burial, he realizes Sam was poisoned. Harry informs Asta that one of the mourners is undoubtedly the murderer.
Because Sam Hodges was poisoned. And one of the people here is the murderer.
Harry starts his first shift as the new town doctor and meets Max as his first patient. Harry tries to use a bone saw to behead Max, and Max flees the facility in hysterics. Harry considers ways to assassinate Max, while he spreads hand-drawn posters showing his extraterrestrial appearance with Liv's assistance.
That's it. I'm going to kill him.
On a date with Harry, the local bartender Darcy Bloom talks about the injury that terminated her skiing career. Motivated, Harry cuts the brakes on Max's bicycle, but the mishap that results merely injures Max's arm and necessitates stitches. Max and Harry argue vocally as the process continues. Asta copes with Sam's passing with the aid of her father, Dan. Harry begins gathering resources to fix his spacecraft out of a sense of homesickness, including mining tellurium, which possesses levitational properties. Elsewhere, a guy falls from a frozen cliff while taking a selfie, but is caught mid-fall by an unknown force. Lisa Casper and David Logan subsequently discover him, still dangling and frozen to death atop what looks to be a piece of Harry's wrecked spacecraft. In order to evade a DNA match, when a fisherman discovers the real Harry's foot in the lake, Harry provides a skin sample from a baby's foreskin. After the body washes up ashore, Harry hides it in his freezer while the authorities search the lake for the rest of it. Only Max's classmate Sahar believes in his claims of the extraterrestrial presence, so Ben's wife Kate is left trying to find out what to do about them. At what pans out to be a high school party, Asta learns that one of Sam's prescription pads had been stolen and used to distribute narcotics to pupils. As she drives Jay, a part-time clinic employee, home after finding her at a party in a semi-conscious state, a flashback shows that Jay was the child she gave away. After finding that the cowboy plans to write a book about how he saw Harry transform into an extraterrestrial, months earlier, Lisa and David kill him.
Well, little lady, what are you doing?
In an effort to persuade Max that he is normal, Ben and Kate invite Harry to dinner. Unfortunately, Harry invites Darcy, who indulges in alcohol while discussing her early infatuation with Ben. Sahar duplicates Harry's house keys while they are eating and snatches them. Darcy listens to Liv's complaints about her job and urges her to confront Mike. When Harry first meets Asta's family, he immediately declares that Jay is the child she gave up for adoption. Despite Asta's suffering, this information makes her and Dan more compatible. When Max and Sahar attempt to get into Harry's cabin, alien technology renders them unconscious, and Harry finds them. He drags them out of the house when Isabel, the actual Harry's wife, arrives out of nowhere. The real Harry first met his future wife Isabel at an art show as shown in a flashback. Harry signs divorce papers after sneaking Max and Sahar back into their houses, leaving Isabel upset and perplexed by his actions. Unaware that they are discussing the same man, Darcy and Isabel chat about their relationship problems. Harry advises Ben and Kate to transfer Max to an out-of-state facility when they discover Max broke into his cabin. Sahar, on the other hand, persuades Harry and Max to accept a ceasefire. When Jay learns that Asta is her mother, she leaves the clinic. Harry grows fond of Isabel over time. The toxicology finding Mike gets demonstrate that Sam was poisoned. The tale of General Eleanor Wright, who witnessed a UFO as a youngster, is revealed in a flashback. When Harry meets Ethan Stone, the good-looking Newtown doctor, he grows envious and eventually dislocates Ethan's shoulder in an arm wrestling match. Isabel is repeatedly rendered unconscious so that Harry can look for his device. He informs Mike about the missing prescription pad and Liv keeps up with the inquiry while Mike embarrasses himself by interrogating a young suspect. Asta accuses Jimmy of taking the prescription pads during a girls' night out bowling.
That prescription pad out on the top of the desk? All you had to do was reach out and take it?
5 years later, when military monitoring of Harry's spaceship was unsuccessful, Wright hired Lisa and David to conduct a covert investigation. They followed this to Harry's cloaked spaceship, where they awaited his arrival. The spaceship is moved to a fortified building. An automobile runs into Harry as he discovers that his spacecraft has vanished. It is revealed that Isabel, who had learned that Harry has been drugging her, is the driver. Harry announces loudly that he needs space from her after realizing that they are being observed, which startles Lisa and David. Isabel leaves for New York in a rage. Harry becomes depressed because of this, losing his spacecraft and job. In a drug and alcohol-induced coma, Harry has a dream in which the body of the real Harry confronts and taunts him for failing to complete his task.
You can't even find your spaceship. You had one simple mission. You completely failed.
Asta and Darcy give Harry drugs to cheer him up, so he telepathically communicates with an octopus cousin in an aquarium at a Japanese restaurant. Jimmy takes Mike and Liv to the stolen prescription pads and the high school janitor who was peddling them. Still, when Mike fails to recognize Liv's contribution to single-handedly apprehending the offender, she reprimands him and leaves. After hearing that Harry misdiagnosed Max, Ben and Kate choose not to expel him. Harry's gizmo emits a green glow, which Max can see, allowing him to find it on a glacier in exchange. When Harry gets there, his spacecraft starts up, and David finds Harry's exact position. When Asta and Darcy reach the glacier out of concern for Harry's safety, the glacier's surface collapses beneath them. As Asta and Harry find themselves buried in a glacier crevice, Darcy is knocked out. After getting well, Darcy rescues Harry and Asta from the chasm, but Asta leaves her at the hospital and takes Harry to Dan's diner. Due to Harry's injured leg, he's unable to hide his identity, but Asta bravely volunteers to take care of his medical requirements and look for his misplaced gadget, which Harry says is a radio. On his anniversary, Ben attempts to be more forceful on Mike's advice, but Kate is not thrilled. As Lisa and David search the town for the extraterrestrial, they come across one of Max's posters. Harry finds that his gadget is broken when his leg regenerates. He and Asta go to an alien experience conference in search of a metal needed to create the trackers that the grey aliens implant in human abductees. A participant subsequently cautions Asta that her extraterrestrial may be a Christopher Columbus after hearing numerous experiences' terrifying accounts. Asta then takes the stage and relates her pleasant experience. Harry obtains a tracker from alien hunter Peter Buck, who can see past Harry's genetic cloak and whose unborn son was kidnapped by grey aliens 30 years earlier after almost removing a BB pellet from a false experiencer. Using Liv's murder board, Mike apprehends Sam's wife Abigail Hodges. She was having an affair and had access to the botulinum toxins used in Botox injections because she worked as a beautician. Meanwhile, David and Lisa dine with the Hawthorns while pretending to be a couple to grow closer to Max. He suppresses his ego and asks Liv to rejoin the force during karaoke. Astounded by Asta's actions and disappearance, Darcy breaks into Harry's cabin and finds the genuine Dr. Van der Spiegel's body. Season 1 ends with the real Harry poisoning Sam's insulin in a flashback hours before Harry kills him. Darcy shows the real Harry's body to Mike and Liv, but Harry has already stowed it in a cabin's loft. The actual Harry then becomes a figure of interest after Liv discovers one of his boots besides the lake. Harry visits a pizza place and places a large order before activating his gadget once it is working once more. He imagines the body mocking him for developing emotional ties and berating him for stealing them. Harry disintegrates the body while testing his invention, but after burning his finger, he worries that he is now sufficiently human for the device to kill him.
It means if I set off my device, it will kill me too.
Asta comes to the conclusion that Harry killed the actual Dr. Van der Spiegel when Liv comes to the clinic to inspect the dismembered foot with the recovered boot. Harry is confronted by her and informed that they are no longer pals. Harry turns on his device while grieving. Lisa and David hold Max and Sahar prisoner, but Ben and Kate fight them and chase them away. As a result of Max's information that the extraterrestrial was the town doctor, the agents apprehend Ethan, and Lisa and General McAllister desert David, revealing that their affiliation was a shadowy organization. After Jay confides in her that Asta is her mother, Darcy consoles her.
Holy shit. You're the baby.
They then confront Jimmy, telling him to keep away from Asta and release the brakes on his parked truck. When Harry locates his spacecraft, he first intends to deploy the device from orbit, but he battles to free Asta and Max, who are imprisoned by security forces. Asta persuades Harry to spare mankind, and he departs to destroy his invention in outer space. He discovers Max has stowed himself away while traveling to his home planet. While Tudyk's Harry is constantly irritated by the idea of experiencing human emotions, which is inherently alien to his nature, the comic book version of Harry goes into solving crimes out of a strong passion for mystery books and films. Despite growing close to Asta 12 Trees, Harry feels no remorse over trying to murder Max Hawthorne, a young person who can see Harry in his actual extraterrestrial form. Max is taken to the new town doctor Harry for treatment not long after he attempts to murder someone. Therefore, it is crucial to realize that Harry's actions are supposed to be seen through a comic, semi-serious lens. In Season 2, after being discovered strolling down the street nude and with a head injury, Harry wakes up in a hospital. While Harry cannot recall any recent events, he is aware that he was brought to Earth by an extraterrestrial race to exterminate all human life, leading the medical personnel to conclude that he is mad. Asta visits Ben at his house, but is unaware of what happened to Max and Harry. Max demonstrates to Asta the unseen ship sunk in the baseball diamond. In an effort to refresh his memory, Asta locates Harry, who now thinks he is Lenny Briscoe from Law & Order, and brings him back to the sushi bar. Harry's memories are restored by 42, a live tank octopus that can telepathically connect with Asta.
Asta!
Harry.
Huh.
Harry, oh, thank God.
Since octopi are closely linked to Harry's extraterrestrial species, he brings 42 home. Max confronts Harry about how the extraterrestrial protected him during the crash while traveling back to Earth at the cottage. Max claims that this demonstrates Harry's fatherly devotion to him. Harry yells at Max and tells him that he's to blame for being stranded on Earth, but in reality, he's worried Max is starting to act more human. Max discovered he has chest hair the following day. Following up the severed foot at Harry's house, Mike and Liv determined that his front door has been changed following a battle. Max has been growing hair and beard due to taking something from Harry's survival kit. Jessup, a town nearby, promotes its tourism as being superior to Patience since there aren't any severed feet there.
We have 5 varieties of trout, 0 varieties of dead human feet. When people disappear in Jessup,
Town signs start to show graffiti with severed feet and murder tours start. Harry starts having nightmares and builds an underground bunker out of a component from a survival kit after realizing his planet could send more members of his kind to exterminate Earth. In an effort to acquire new acquaintances, Asta invites Harry to the sheriff's poker game in the hopes that he may discover other causes to preserve humanity in addition to her. Harry discovers at the game that the real Harry nearly sold his cabin 6 years earlier, but decided against it. Harry is the target of the sheriff and deputy's continued surveillance as they observe him clearing his home of a significant quantity of dirt. They track down the realtor who sold the cottage and learn from her that the original Harry was selling it to pay off a $500,000 debt, which he then paid off in cash. They also find that Harry was subjected to disciplinary action at work for entering locations where the poison that killed the patient's doctor was kept. Asta is frightened to discover that more aliens are on their way to attack Earth as Harry shows her the bunker. Just before the sheriff shows up to interview Harry, she convinces Harry to contact his planet. He hides himself as Asta by utilizing an item from his survival pack to do so. At a summer camp 24 years ago, a young Liv saw what she believed to be an extraterrestrial spacecraft as it suddenly lit up the sky. Mike and Liv run across Harry in the present, but he uses superhuman athleticism to evade capture, wipes out their memories of the meeting, and gives them the impression that the FBI has taken over the Sam Hodges murder case.
But the time has come for us to take over this case.
Well, if you're taking over, we should stop looking into the crime.
Ben creates an ad portraying patients' tourism as pleasant in order to compete with Jessup's mayor. Max and Sahar confront Harry over the premature aging effects of one of Harry's survival kit components on Max. Asta, Darcy, Kate, and a number of their pals go out for a girls' night, joined by Carolyn, a laser physicist who is oblivious to the gadget's alien origins, but is captivated by Harry's half-built homeworld contact device. Harry and Carolyn develop a love connection at the pub, even though Harry wants to steal her ID badge so he may access her lab and steal a necessary component to finish the gadget. Asta reprimands him, and he humiliatingly exits the pub.
I'm going to leave now. Good night.
After discovering that women and patients are paid less than males, the ladies break into Ben's office and threaten to kidnap him if he doesn't fix the issue. Asta awakens the following day to discover Harry has taken over Carolyn's body by changing into her image while leaving her actual comatose body in bed. Harry repeatedly throws Carolyn's employer around the room as he enters the laser lab, takes the necessary component, and makes an unwelcome move. To the joy of the women, Darcy drops placards from a helicopter demanding equal pay. Ben almost tells Kate the truth about the night he and Darcy shared a kiss, but instead, he talks to her about bringing the gender wage gap to the town assembly's notice. Max and Sahar inform Asta that they think the gadget is another bomb as Harry prepares to transport his finished communication equipment to a mountain summit for best communication. Harry asks Asta and Dan to go with him on his trip to make sure he isn't lying, but they are soon joined by Kayla and Drew, two of Asta's relatives. Dan keeps them busy as Harry and Asta go to their destination. Harry activates his gadget and explains that he just wants to prevent the mass extinction of Asta's species, thus he only cares about stopping his people from conquering Earth for 50 years.
The signal will tell my people not to come and kill everyone. For 50 years.
Even though Asta is enraged, she gets a critical call from Big Leroy, another tribesman. Harry reconciles with Asta and understands the importance of human life after helping Leroy's wife, Sunny, give birth to her baby. When Asta visits Jimmy, they embrace because she believes Jay will never be her daughter. Mike is set up on a date with Judy as Liv converses with Darcy about her newly lost memory and holds off on telling Judy about the error that cost him his job as a police officer in Washington, D.C. When Darcy's parents visit, he is unhappy and asks her about her life. Ben and Kate confront Jessup Mayor Mitch Green in a restaurant about his defamation of patients. Meanwhile, a psychiatrist is kidnapped by two men and taken to a facility run by General McAllister, where he finds Dr. Ethan Stone is not an alien as she had supposed. The institution is full of people who are thought to be extraterrestrials. Harry receives an enigmatic phone number from New York City back at the cabin, which Lisa intercepts and informs General McAllister about. In the next episode, Mike reveals to Harry that earlier, Harry had a degenerate daughter named Lisa with his first wife before Isabel. Lisa ran away from a program for disturbed adolescents to meet her father in Patience. He kidnaps Murphy, a dog Sahar walks for her neighbors, and demands that she and Max give him the component of the survival kit back. He doesn't realize it is now in David's possession, who discovers its gravity-defying properties. Darcy questions Asta about her night at Jimmy's house, while Harry seeks to connect with Lisa. Asta enters a chili eating competition against Darcy to impress Jay. Harry reconnects with Lisa. Mike is given a pleasant memory to replace the blanked out recollection of his effort to arrest him, and Max and his classmates put on a gory performance about the town's renowned 59 miners who perished to save one. The next day, when Lisa says a tearful goodbye, Harry is ready to depart for New York after realizing how much he misses his own family. Liv tells Mike that she thinks an extraterrestrial destroyed their memories.
I think an alien erased our memory. There, I said it.
In a flashback, it is revealed that the first Harry and Dr. Hodges were complicit in robbing a New York charity event of its funds. When Sahar informs Harry that David stole a computer of his survival pack, Harry tries to give her back Murphy, the dog, but discovers that Murphy has killed 42, the octopus. After he somberly prepares and consumes 42, Harry takes Asta to the New York pizza joint, where the enigmatic phone number originated. They discover a mural with the word Goliath painted in Harry's language on the corner of the street. Harry uses this information to find further paintings across the city and to identify the art gallery of Goliath, a person of his kind. He and Asta speak to Violinda Darvel, the Brazilian-born operator, during a gala at the gallery. Violinda recognizes Harry and inquires about Asta's knowledge of his secret.
Tell me, how long have you known Harry's an alien?
Harry receives an LSD tablet from a party-goer, consumes it, and begins hallucinating and losing control of his human body as he walks the streets. Mike dismisses Liv's view regarding aliens, but he later confides in her about losing Jesse, his partner back in Washington, D.C. Darcy spends the night in Max's bedroom and gives Ben confidence to make his own decisions while Kate and Max are away. Violinda leads Asta to Goliath's gallery's hidden chamber, where she has kept Goliath's petrified remains. Then Asta runs upon Harry, who is still high on LSD, and uses ice to bring him back to reality. When Asta informs Harry that she spotted Goliath's corpse, he hurries her back to the gallery and crushes the body, exposing an alien egg inside. Harry is devastated to learn of Goliath's passing. When Violinda admits that Goliath used her DNA to conceive himself and turn into a fossil, Harry pledges to take care of the child that is half extraterrestrial and half human. In patience, Kate confronts Ben over hanging a sign she doesn't like in their home, without realizing Darcy had urged him to do so, and the two speculate that Kate may be pregnant again. Ben recommends that Nurse Ellen rehire Harry after dismissing the elderly Dr. Smallwood from her post as patient's new town doctor after incorrectly diagnosing him with cancer during his yearly checkup. After uploading a UFO video on the internet, Liv receives abuse from internet trolls. Alex Ogilvy of the Galvan Powell group is one of the two men who recognize Harry, who is killed by Lisa, who pursued Harry to New York and killed them both. Following a trail of liquid left by the egg, Lisa confronts Harry on a train headed out of the city. They engage in combat until Harry hangs Lisa from a broken window. Lisa gets beheaded by an approaching train coming along the other track. Dan tells Mike in a restaurant that the establishment is named in honor of Joe, a buddy of his who perished in a Vietnam War ambush mission. Mike and Liv search Sam's office for clues regarding the reason for his murder after assuming that Abigail Hodges did not kill her husband and being unable to sell his belongings at a yard sale due to sentimental reasons. Clearly influenced by Sam's investigative novel collection left to him by Abigail, Mike and Liv find a list of identities, including Galvan Powell, hidden behind a picture frame. Dan learns about Goliath and the egg when Asta returns to the cottage. Harry intends to keep the egg in his bunker, but as the egg begins to hatch, he and the 12 trees are welcomed by various friends who throw him a surprise birthday celebration. General McAllister approaches David regarding his alien survival kit item in a forest, but David is shot by a sniper who blinks in an alien-like way, and General McAllister flees. Harry places the sack with the alien egg in his bunker shortly after returning home to a surprise celebration. When Harry checks on the egg in the basement, he finds that it has hatched and the alien child is gone. Asta tries to get rid of the home visitors when when Harry tells her that an alien infant consumes whatever high-calorie meal it can find after hatching, even people. However, Harry keeps the party going by promising pie. When Asta enters the cabin's bathroom, she finds the alien infant in the toilet, which has already fled out the window. At the same time, Darcy helps Katie with a pregnancy test in the bathroom. Darcy later claims to have gone rock climbing with Ben, and Mike later admits that she kissed him when Ben confesses wanting to build a ski resort in Patience to attract more tourists. Kate becomes furious with Ben for not telling her that he spent time with Darcy while she was away and told him that she is pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
Congratulations.
Jay would like to join Asta in celebrating her upcoming 18th birthday. Max and Sahar run to alert Harry that the authorities are looking for him as Nurse Ellen attempts to care for them. When they arrive at Harry's house, they witness the alien baby eating a raccoon. When Asta informs Harry that the baby alien went out the window, Harry immediately goes outside to get it. As Liv hears the baby chitter, her memories begin to return. A telepathic link is made between Harry and the child, giving him a vision of Goliath. Goliath informs Harry that his civilization does not intend to eradicate humanity, but rather to hinder the attempts of another alien race to conquer Earth. When the alien child plunges into the ocean, the mental connection is severed when a strange man who gave the previous Harry the order to kill Dr. Hodges appears and shoots the present Harry. Asta responds by shooting the man with one of Harry's firearms. The man's corpse is moved inside Jessup while being concealed from Mike by Harry, Asta, and Darcy. The alien infant attacks two of the man's friends who were watching from a rowboat, which subsequently ejects one of their IDs. Although Asta is still scared, Harry persuades her not to call the police. To exonerate Asta, Harry plans to meddle with the autopsy. Ben informs Detective Lena Torres of Jessup, and she immediately assumes control of the investigation and takes possession of the body. As Mike and Liv tour the Galvin Powell group, Liv takes a note to include in her UFO footage that will be sent to an expert alien tracker. Ben reveals to Harry his marital issues and reinstates Harry as the local doctor. General McAllister, who is also wanted by the alien assassin who shot David but survived thanks to the alien sphere, is where David meets General McAllister. To persuade Torres to turn over the body to him for autopsy, Harry inserts the bullet shells from Asta shooting inside Patience. Asta collapses from anxiety as the surgery is being done. Harry, who is sympathetic, helps her forget about the event, thereby making her miss Jay's birthday meal. We find out that Bobby Smallwood, a little kid, went rabbit hunting with his sister 81 years ago. They followed the bunny into an abandoned mine, but he never returned. Harry is thrilled to see Asta in the present, her memories gone, and beaming with joy. Harry presents the autopsy's findings to Mike, Liv, and the Jessup sheriff. Liv feels excluded since Mike and the sheriff of Jessup like working together. Harry discovers that the alien infant has been consuming milk at a dairy farm. He pursues the infant there, but it flees into the mine Bobby entered that had been abandoned. Jay questions Asta about missing their scheduled birthday meetup at the diner. Asta questions Harry after realizing he has removed her memories. Harry discovers that both happy and negative emotions are crucial to human existence. When Bobby's now elderly sister spots him in the crowd, her companion quickly points out that he vanished when they were kids. The alien infant found Bobby's bones and used his DNA to make a human body for itself. Sahar overhears the exchange and surmises Sahar wants to keep it a secret from Harry and reveals the alien kid in Bobby's body to Mac. Ben confesses to Kate that he fears her, but after a touching phone call, they make up. Harry helps a patient who is near death to end his life. That's where we all stand right now, with 6 more episodes scheduled to be released for the current season. As with any creative adaptation, Resident Alien's comedic treatment of the overall subject matter results in adjustments to the tone and overarching character studies, while the dramatic severity of the many instances in Patience, particularly those examined in The Suicide Blonde and The Sam Hain Mystery, drives the comics. The local mayor, Ben Hawthorne, Levy Feeler, who is represented as a considerably younger figure in the show, is one of the recurrent comic characters that the show introduces. Apart from that, the show introduces Asta Twelvetree's adoptive father, Dan Twelvetrees, in a very different way, even if much about how she is portrayed has not changed. Dan is a Mohawk shaman who, along with Asta, has a partial understanding of Harry's actual nature in the comics. However, in the television version of the character, he only asserts that he gets a bad feeling about Harry. Asta is given a heartbreaking past though, since she recently left an abusive relationship and had to give her kid up for adoption. Asta's character can unquestionably grow more convincingly and intensely as a result, and Resident Alien is able to introduce aspects of the hardships of the other as a result. Resident Alien is being renewed for Season 3. It is now definite that Resident Alien will return for a third season on the Sci-Fi Network in July 2022. This season will include 12 episodes. With approximately 11 million viewers across all airings, the series reportedly continued to do well in the ratings for Sci-Fi. Showrunner Chris Sheridan was mapping out the third season's plot arc according to a Sci-Fi Story from August 12, 2022. He said that while he had some ideas for the third season, he now has fresh ones after they finished the second season, which included many things he had not planned. The third season, he said, will be more like the first season, but with 2 more episodes. Unlike Season 2, it won't be constructed as a 2-part season. The release window, in our opinion, would be around early 2023. The start of the series' rollout will likely be around January 2023, going by the release schedule of the previous season. Furthermore, we would like to underline that everything is just conjecture at this point. Consequently, viewers should keep an eye on the Sci-Fi Network in the coming months, as it will announce and confirm the official release dates.
Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to kill you.
Marvelous verdict. There are significant changes from the comics to the TV show. The comic Harry is a genuinely kind man who doesn't want to eat, probe, or kill anyone, even if he may not be as hilarious as Alan Tudyk. That sort of alien doctor is the one to have if you must have one. On the other hand, the TV Harry is almost a cold-blooded killer. I believe Harry's murder of a man on television and attempt to kill a kid warrants a greater censure than morally dubious. No matter how much empathy Harry gains in the future, I could still regard him as beyond redemption. Having said that, the show is actually excellent to watch. It will always keep you on the edge of your seat. The comics have their charm, but this is one of sci-fi's most successful shows to grace the TV screens in the last decade. So if you haven't watched it yet, I suggest now is the perfect time to start binging so that you can catch up with the Season 2 finale. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe.